New class is helping parents learn how to make more nutritious meals and navigate picky eaters, especially during those toddler years when it's hard. It's just in time because March is National Nutrition Month, so whether you're a kitchen newbie or an old pro, these nutritionists will teach you how to cook and even give the produce to you to take home.
The main source of my mom guilt comes from eating and nutrition for her.
Wheeler Family Health and Wellness Center in Hartford is hoping to end that mom guilt. They've started a free toddler nutrition program for parents on how to get young kids to eat healthy foods. Classes are offered the first 2 Tuesdays of each month. They include informational sessions and hands-on cooking classes. Nutritionists say getting kids to eat healthy is the key to a healthy life.
It's when they're learning how to do everything. They're learning how to walk. They're learning how to talk. They're learning how to, like, the actual feeding themselves. But we don't focus enough on what we're telling them to eat. If we teach them to eat well and eat a healthy diet while they're young, it's going to translate into adulthood.
There are morning and evening classes, and get this, they'll even watch your kids at the same time. Coming up in the next half hour, we will break down the top 3 healthy eating tips this nutritionist has for parents.
That's amazing. Where were they 18 years ago?
I know.
When I had toddlers?
We need it now.
It sounds like a great idea.
So what should you do if you have a picky eater?
It's hit or miss, so it's a little frustrating sometimes.
Flavia Ray de Castro is taking part in the free toddler nutrition program at Wheeler Family Health and Wellness Center in Hartford. She's hoping to get her daughter, Juliana, to eat healthier foods. Nutritionists say the key is being willing to put in the time and remembering if your kids see you eat something, they'll be more likely to try it.
As a parent, you want to show children that eating healthy is fun and it's good. Show them that you like healthy foods. The thing is variety. Offer your children a variety of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and my big one's always, be careful of sweetened beverages and packaged foods.
Masterson says sometimes you have to offer kids certain types of foods, veggies, 10 times before they will actually eat them. The program at Wheeler in Hartford, it's for free. They'll watch your kids. It runs the first 2 Tuesdays of each month, and we'll have a lot more on this coming up.
Great to have expert advice.
You just heard from the families pushing for this.
Yes, we did, Carrie Lee, and actually that public hearing is underway right now behind these doors. Right behind me, you can see that gentleman walking in. This is all for Ethan's Law, which wants to increase gun storage safety laws. It would require both loaded and unloaded guns to be stored in safes so that unauthorized people couldn't get to them. That means kids couldn't get to them. Now, it's been an emotional morning hearing from parents. You may remember that Ethan's Law is named after Ethan Song, a Guilford teen who was accidentally shot and killed himself last January at a friend's house. The gun was only stored in a box in a bedroom closet with the keys nearby. His parents spoke and are pushing for a law that would require all guns to be stored properly. They also want to change the definition of minor from age 16 to 18 years old when it comes to gun storage laws. Again, we also heard from Mark Barden, the founder of Sandy Hook Promise, who lost his son Daniel in the Sandy Hook shooting 6 years ago. Here's what both he and Ethan's parents had to say.
And I want to tell you.
Now, in response to the bill, the Connecticut Citizens Defense League president Scott Wilson said in a statement, in part, quote, if Connecticut lawmakers are serious about reducing gun accidents involving children, then they need to develop a plan or implement one of several plans that exist already. The proposed law calls for punitive action, whereas our plan offers preventative safety measures that might actually protect children from harm or death, end quote. Again, the public hearing underway right now behind me, and it looks like this could go on for quite some time. Live in Hartford, Hanna Mordoh, NBC Connecticut News. Back to you.
Okay, Hannah.
NBC Connecticut's Hanna Mordoh joins us live with more on this controversial issue. Hannah?
Hey, Kevin, yeah, very controversial issue, and the governor just finished speaking about 10 minutes ago, and he was joined by other lawmakers, advocates for labor, advocates for construction, and even Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin, who actually kind of was the orchestrator among this press conference, if that makes any sense. Now, one of the things they talked about as state infrastructure is a 30-30-30 plan, which would mean trains would only take 30 minutes from Hartford to New Haven, then from New Haven to Stamford, then from Stamford to Grand Central Station. They also talked about how do we pay for all of this? Well, that tolls plan, and I asked the governor specifically, this tolls plan, does that mean cars and trucks or just trucks? Here's what he had to say.
I think right now are upset about this.
And that was a group called ctnotolls.org responding. For the most part, lawmakers agree that the infrastructure and transportation here in Connecticut, it needs to be repaired, and that does take money that will be coming out of your pocket somehow. Republicans are saying tolls are not necessary, and the state should borrow billions from transportation instead through the use of bonds and perhaps even federal money help as well. Right now, it is a packed house here at the Legislative Office building, and just like lawmakers, some people are for tolls, others are against them. I actually spoke to one man. He's a truck driver from Windsor. This is what he had to say.
No tolls, no bonds. Manage the money that we have, do a much better and much more honest job at managing the income that Connecticut has, and move forward with that.
So what happens now? Well, there are a ton of people here for this public hearing. They will be speaking out for as long as it has to take. And the governor asked him if he's going to actually listen to what these people have to say. He says that he will. So we'll see what happens. Many opinions here, though. It's already gotten pretty heated with people speaking out during that press conference. Live in Hartford, Hanna Mordoh, NBC Connecticut News. Back to you.
It's a heated topic indeed. Hannah, thanks for that report.
When it comes to the weather this morning,
Driving us all crazy.
I'm sick of it.
It's depressing, it's cloudy, it's cold.
people in Canton have come to the conclusion that this wet snow and sleety start to a Sunday is just not fun. So these folks got up early to clean off their cars and get out.
Just clean off my car so I can go get a coffee.
A mess. But it's not the biggest mess we've ever seen.
But before Connie Malone hit the road, she said she waited for some important weather advice.
Honestly, truth, the only reason I'm on the road is because I heard from Snow Monster that the roads are improving and they're pretty good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have ventured out.
Connie says she hates to drive, but because the plows were out early clearing the snow and treating the roads, she was confident she could get out and do some Sunday shopping.
To me, driving on the roads is scary. That's why I really tune into you guys for the weather forecast. I don't drive on the roads unless I really need to.
She's cautious for good reason. There were still some crashes this morning, like this spin out in New Haven on 95 near exit 48, and this rollover crash in New Britain along 84 westbound near exit 35. So even though people had to clean off their cars, clean off Snow Monster, and deal with all of the snow this morning, they're happy that warmer weather is on the way. Anything you're hoping for?
Warmer weather.
Spring and the sunshine.
I am so ready for spring. So ready.
In Canton, Hanna Mordoh, NBC Connecticut News.
Do it. Hanna Mordoh shares the story.
Here at Highland Elementary School in Cheshire, the classrooms are full of classics.
Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away.
With brains in their heads and feet in their shoes, these kids have 40 Cheshire High School students helping steer them in any direction they choose.
We love reading!
Yes, these teens know what they know, saying reading is best. It's where kids' imaginations should go and get put to the test.
It's so important to enjoy stories and to read for fun, not just because you have to.
And I think that having a strong base of reading when you're young helps cultivate that kind of culture for when you're older and helps your reading.
Yes, these students are off to great places, influencing these kids with their bright, smiling faces.
Reading.
Reading's your favorite?
Pretty much. I think reading is kind of like the most important thing in life.
Charlie and his classmates listened with glee, asking questions Dr. Seuss would love to see.
What's your favorite Dr. Seuss book?
Whatever the answer, these teachers agree. There's another point to be made about reading, you see?
Really emphasize the importance of reading and limiting that screen time.
With so many videos to watch and devices out there with a screen, it's important for kids to remember Dr. Seuss and actual books that have a cover.
Multiple ways on how to enjoy life without the screen time.
So back in the classroom, what else can we say?
Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss!
Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss. Today is your day.
You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way.
In Cheshire.
The end.
Hanna Mordoh, NBC Connecticut News.
Well, Dan, in just the last 10 minutes, we learned from the Manchester fire chief that these were two young children and their mother that got burned somehow in this cooking fire accident that happened at this apartment here behind me, the Lofts at the Mills on Elm Street. And right now, the investigation is underway. People in Manchester woke up to this scene of firefighters outside the lofts at the Mill apartment building this morning, but say they weren't sure what was happening.
I noticed several police cars and fire trucks here, and I wasn't really sure what was going on.
They say no fire alarms went off, but just before 9 this morning, firefighters tell us they were called to the 3rd floor for some sort of an accidental fire.
We had 3 individuals who suffered burns, 1 adult, 2 children. They've all been transported via ambulance to Hartford hospitals, 2 to Children's and 1 to, I think, St. Fran. Currently, the cause of the fire is under investigation. There was no damage to the apartment other than smoke. And our fire marshals are upstairs right now working on a cause.
Firefighters say 1 child had more significant burns than the other child and mother. The police department says a standard investigation is underway, but wouldn't go into specifics about the children's ages or what type of accident this was. Now people who live here are hoping for the best.
I certainly hope that they're okay, but burns are just something horrible, especially for a small child.
I hope them the very, very, very best. I hope nobody has some severe burns and leave the rest in God's hands.
Again, Dan, and that information we just learned from the fire chief, he tells us that these are non-life-threatening injuries and burns that these 2 children, young children and mother have. At this point, it appears that all the police department and firefighters have left this scene. No other units were damaged in this fire because it was just contained to that 1 apartment unit on the 3rd floor. Live in Manchester, Hanna Mordoh, NBC Connecticut News. Back to you.
Hannah, thanks so much.
Well, Kevin, the good news is that this fire wasn't as bad as we initially thought. You can actually look over here and see the fire department starting to clear up, clean out their hoses, get everything packed up to get out of here. The fire department says this fire was all on the roof. In fact, if you take a look at this picture the West Hartford Fire Department sent to us, you can actually see the smoke on the roof. They say workers were here doing some maintenance when somehow that sparked this fire at around 9:30 this morning, that maintenance on the roof of the building. Now, firefighters aren't sure what exactly that maintenance was or how that maintenance started the fire, but they say this was all just an accident. They're also not sure how many people were here at the time. They're not sure if the building was open or if it was just workers, but they say everyone was out safely when they arrived to the scene. At this point, there's hardly any damage inside the actual building, but firefighters say, again, this they thought was a lot worse when they got here.
Even prior to arrival at the scene, we were able to see a significant, what we call a header. It's a large volume of black smoke coming up straight up in the sky. But as I said before, it was contained to the roof. So what you had is it was open burning. It was causing those byproducts of combustion to be visible, but it was not burning on the inside of the building. There is some extension, which is when the fire gets down a little bit, but it was not extensive.
No one hurt.
No one's hurt. That's the best thing, man.
And that is the best thing. Okay, right now, again, live out here on the scene, you can see the roof itself. It's hard for us to tell from looking at it how much damage there is, and the fire department tells me at this point they don't have a dollar damage amount. And when I talked to the GM of the golf club here, he said they're not sure when they will reopen. They have to have some crews in to assess things. So a lot more to be continued here. Live in West Hartford, Hanna Mordoh, NBC Connecticut News. Kevin, back to you.